part of beekeeping is making your own equipment, and that can get very expensive if you have to buy everything. So I pretty well make all my own frames. I have a few frames that I have bought, but I think it's less than 20. In video 1 I did the sides. Video 2 is going to be top and bottom bars. Most of what I use is reclaimed lumber. You have to remove a few nails and a little bit of work, but it is good wood. So and it's free. So free in my book is wonderful. So all you have to do is remove a few nails. It's definitely worth the work, I find. If you're constantly buying wood, it gets expensive. And it gets, people say it's not worth making. Not worth making frames. They're probably right if you went and bought all the wood. But if you can get clean lumber, but it is way cheaper. Okay, I'm at the radial arm saw. I set up a stop for the right length for the bottom bar. What we're going to do is rip off a whole bunch of the same length. And we don't want to keep setting this. If you need 500 bars, it's good to cut 500 bars all at once. And then you're done. You're on to setting it up for another cut. This way you're not wasting time in between. Breathing in dust into your lungs is not good for you at all. So make sure you wear safety glasses and dust masks. We're at the table saw. We're taking my template piece. That's what I'm going to use to set my saw with the widths, and so all the cuts are the same, so we don't have pieces that are a little bit wider or a little bit thinner. The key to this is having consistency to the whole thing. So I'm going to adjust the fence till it's just touching. Now I got the width. I am going to cut the strips out of these boards. Then we're going to go to the dado saw. I have multiple saws because I find it's easier at different stages of doing the stuff. So if I do the bottom bar, I set all 3 saws and then I start going through it. Then I don't have to finish every single piece or every single cut. I can continue on through. And most of these saws I got very cheap, about 20 bucks each. So it's very affordable to do. Better if I plug in the saw. Okay, so we're going to cut all these. They're all cut to the same dimension, so I'm going to go to the other table saw that has my dado bit to cut the edges. It is really important to do as many pieces with a single cut. So in this, I only need 4 cuts, 2 on each side, and then cut them all apart to make these, instead of having a whole bunch of these pieces doing each one separately. So what I did was I cut them into that strips. So we're going to run the dado down each side of each end, and that will eventually look like that. You want to make sure that fits nice. Nothing worse than having loose ones, and when you're stapling them, you don't have as much strength on the gluing surface. So that's perfect. And I like to keep one of these around, so I just know that it's cutting awesome. I've got my template piece, so I'm going to set my saw so I can cut them all down to the right dimension. So I lock that in, bring down the blade so we don't end up launching them. Okay, now I'm going to cut the strip up the center that either holds your foundation. I run totally foundationless. I find that the bees are able to adhere the comb better too, even with the notch there. So I end up cutting it in even though I don't use foundation. We've done the bottom bar, now we're going to have to make the top bar. The top bar is the most complicated out of the whole thing. It's got quite a few cuts. So I'm not giving all the dimensions for everything. There's a lot of really good websites that give you the dimensions to make your own bee equipment. So I don't need that. But I'm just kind of bringing you along as I make it, how I do it. Always, always, always cut as many in a row as you can. If you need 500, try to do your 500 bars. Make each cut and do 500 of them. It gets monotonous. You can spend a whole day cutting one piece, but in the long run it's way faster. So it's just time savings there. Now we take it to the table saw. You gotta always think the way you're gonna cut it. I think I can get 3 out of each one of these. So first I'm gonna have to cut this width. It's really important to keep a template because each time, if you keep using the frames you've made, each time you do it, it tends to get a hair larger each time. Not much, but on the 5th generation of your frames, it could be enough. So it's good to keep one that is permanently the one that you use as your template. And then it gets you away from that. Now we don't want the blade much past the top of here to keep stuff from flying. So here we go. We've got the saw set. We're going to run through the boards we have. We're going to get them all cut up and then go to the next cut. Okay. So now we're going to cut now we've cut the thickness, so we're going to cut the width. So I'm going to set the table saw, cut them down in width. There. Make sure you wear your safety glasses and dust masks. We follow all safety procedures. Okay, we're going to lower down the blade, so the lower the blade is, the less chance of the pieces kicking back at you. So now it's starting to look a lot more like it. Now we're gonna go to the saw that has the dado bit. And we're gonna cut all these. That is 3/8. 3/8. Okay, now we're gonna go set this to 3/8. This is why you don't want to have to keep doing this, because it's all lost time. Okay, so now you tighten it up. You're not going to want to waste any more than we have to, so you're going to use a scrap piece of wood and do a test cut. Okay. Now we have the depth set, the depth of the notch. Now I'm going to set the fence so it just touches, so we have the exact same dimension back on both sides. We're going to do a test run with this blank piece. So you're kind of checking to see the length back. And I think it's going to be pretty good. So there you go, it's dead on. That's what you want. You want it to be the same every time. So now we're going to go through all these. Each side, 3 out of the 4 sides, you cut. So you cut, turn, turn, turn. And you do this side. Okay, so there you go. Now you got to go through all of them and do the exact same thing. And it's good to check fit. That fits really, really nice. Really nice and snug. That's what you want. Now we adjust my dado blade to about, what is that? Can't see nothing. Okay. Adjust it to about 5/8. Okay, so now I've set the blade just enough so I can actually go to here. Okay, so what we're going to have to do now is tilt the blade so I can cut it on that angle. Let's see what it does. First go. Too high. Uh-oh. Now I've got it set to match the angle, so hopefully this will be great. Oh yeah, pretty good. Okay. So the only thing I have to do is adjust it a little closer to the fence, so I can, so it'll get it all. Okay, so we're gonna give this a try. Pretty much perfect. That's awesome. That's good. So I'll just rifle through these now. Okay, so now we are on to our last cut. We've got right here, that looks pretty darn good. You can square off the corners a bit, make it look a little prettier, but otherwise, that's not too bad. So now we gotta cut the slit up the center. It's for the foundation. Since I am foundationless, I do the slit up the center. That's what I mount a thin piece of wood covered by wax. I will make another video of assembling these. Okay, so we're gonna set this up to run. There is the template. So now, runs up a bit. Okay. So now we are gonna put a little stopper. Less chance of stuff flying out and there we go, we got it all done. It is all finished. We're just gonna have to assemble the frames now.